Dear respected aspirants, today again we have a chance to be in spiritual discourses and understand the essence of spirituality. A new series we are starting, which is Mind the Middleman. Actually, the most important factor and the most complex thing which we have to understand in our life is the mind. It's the most complex thing that everyone has to understand. And it is because of the complexity of the mind, the whole world, humanity and everyone is suffering. Because unless we understand the mind and its way of functioning and how to control it and make it our slave, so to say, our servant, we can't enjoy this life. And if we read the books of psychology or different philosophers, what I have come to understand is that even there is no proper definition of mind in those psychology and other books. So to understand the mind, we actually need the help of a living spiritual master. In any subject, if we have an expert teacher, a specialized teacher, even he can make us understand a difficult subject very easily. He can make us understand. And if the teacher is not expert, not proficient in his knowledge of that subject, even an easy subject, he'll make it complex. So a teacher, a nice teacher, a learned teacher, a very expert teacher is very, very important for this. Similarly, to understand the mind, only a enlightened spiritual teacher can make us understand the mind. So I hope that by the grace of the spiritual master and by the grace of Lord, we might be able to understand the complexity of mind, how it is functioning, why it was created, and how to properly utilize it. Because even if we have a machine, we don't know how to utilize it. And if it is something very powerful, it may not be beneficial to us. Instead, it may harm us. There are many types of energy, like electrical energy, water energy, air energy. There are many energies. And if we don't know how to properly utilize that energy, it may not be beneficial to us. Similarly is this mental energy, which is far, far more powerful than these other energies. It's the most powerful energy with us. And so we have to understand the functioning of the mind. If we could control the mind, utilize it properly, we'll be living in heaven. And if we could understand the mind properly, we'll be living in hell. So the spiritual discourse gives us a chance to understand the functioning of the mind. Many people are confused about the mind and the brain. And they say mind and brain are the same. It's the same function of the brain and the mind, but actually they are totally different. Actually, mind energizes the brain. It's like the flow, if a current passes through the wire, and where we connect the wire, in that portion the electricity flows. Similarly, the flow of consciousness is through the mind. When the mind is connected to the brain, then the neurons of the brains are activated. The grey matter is triggered. Until the mind is not connected to the brain, the neurons of the brain remains inactive. So actually, mind is the factor behind energizing of our brain, our senses, our body. It's because of the mind all the things are working. So this mind, actually we talk about two types of mind, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. We have heard about it in many books, and we have heard about it from many scholars, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Actually, what is conscious mind and what is subconscious mind? We know there are two parts of the brain, the left part and the right part, which technically we call the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. These two hemispheres has got different properties, different characteristics. So when our mind is connected with the left part of the brain, with the left brain, we call it the conscious mind. There is logic, there is analysis, there is caution, there is discussion, there is language, speech. Everything is connected with the conscious mind. And in our daily life, most of the time, we use the conscious mind. And when the mind, through some process or through something, is connected to the right part of the brain, which is a very rare case, when we are doing metaphysical meditation, at that time the mind is connected with the right part of the brain, the right hemisphere. And at that moment it is called the subconscious mind. And subconscious mind has got different qualities. It is intuitive, it is creative, it has got higher skills, and in that situation we have solution to our problems, answer to our questions, and the mind is at rest. So these two have got different characteristics. So most of the time our mind is with the conscious, with the left part of the brain, and to bring it to the right part, we have to understand the system, and that is the meditation. With that meditation, through which the mind gets connected to the right part of the brain. Actually, nowadays people talk about various types of meditation. I categorize it, the physical meditation and the metaphysical meditation. What is the difference between the two, the physical meditation and the metaphysical meditation? Anything which is physical. Physical means which can be learned, which can be heard, which can be seen through the senses, or which can be conceptualized through the logical brain. All these things which can be understood through the brain or through the senses, experienced through the senses, those things are called as physical. But science accepts there is something metaphysical which is beyond the brain and beyond the senses. So what is beyond the brain and beyond the senses, that is metaphysical. In Indian scriptures, they call it para and apara. Para means metaphysical and apara means which is not metaphysical, that means which is physical. So most of the things in the world that we can understand through the brain, logical brain, or can experience through the senses, all these are called as physical. And the science which has developed so much, which has made our life so easy, that science technically is called physical science, because all the experiments, all the inventions, everything has been done through the senses and the logical brain. So everything in the world that we perceive through the senses, experience through the senses, and analyze through the logical brain is physical. So if you are connecting the mind to anything physical, that is called physical meditation. If you are uttering a mantra, that's physical. If you are watching some spiritual aspect, that's physical. If you are thinking about some positive thoughts, that is physical. If you are remembering something through the logical brain, that's physical. Most of the worships, most of the so-called meditations also, in which either the logical brain is used or our senses are used, is physical. All the names of God that we read, that we utter, on which we meditate, are also physical. So if our mind is connected to anything physical, it is physical meditation. But science accepts there is something metaphysical, which is beyond the brain, which cannot be experienced through the senses. That entity, that supreme power, that is beyond the brain, logical brain, and beyond the senses, that can only be experienced through the subconscious mind. And to meditate on that is metaphysical meditation. Generally, the teachers, so-called spiritual teachers, they teach us physical meditation. And there are varieties of physical meditations. Some ask us to concentrate on the breath. If we analyze the breath, it is what is breath? It's oxygen and carbon dioxide. That's also physical. So, what is metaphysical and how to meditate on the metaphysical? That also we have to understand, and we have to experience, and then when we connect the mind to the metaphysical entity, the energy within us, the power due to which our life is sustained, that meditation is metaphysical. And so that metaphysical meditation is the meditation which, as per my experience and my research, every child practices even in the mother's womb. Surprising, friends, and many of you might not believe me also, but this is a truth, an empirical truth, that every child, whether he is born in any part of the world, whether in America, in Russia, France, Germany, Japan, China, India, Nepal, anywhere, that child practices metaphysical meditation in the mother's womb. And when he comes out, he forgets that meditation. And because of that, because he forgets that meditation, his life is suffering. If you could remember that meditation, if you could restart that meditation which you practice in the mother's womb, life will be full of bliss and full of, success. Everything will be there. That metaphysical meditation can bring success, prosperity, peace, happiness, everything in life. It is the clue to the enjoyment, the actual enjoyment in life. What we call enjoyment is actually, it's temporary enjoyment. And we can compare it like the painkillers. When we have got pain in any part of our body, we take a painkiller. And that painkiller makes us forget that pain because it disconnects the connection which takes the message of pain to our brain. And so we feel that I have no pain, but after a few hours again the pain starts. So that is a temporary relief. And those painkillers have got side effect also. If we take them regularly, their effect will also be lesser slowly and slowly, and because of them some new disease may crop up in our life. So generally it is advised not to take painkillers for a long time. Instead, find out a cure for the pain. Similarly, we have a different type of pain. Everybody has that pain. The instability of mind. Mind is unstable. It's not stable. It is all the time bringing a type of suffering in our life. And to make the mind stable, what we do? We see a picture, some people take drugs, different types of physical enjoyments, different enjoyment, sensual enjoyments we do. And through those enjoyment, temporarily we relieve the mind. Temporary stability we provide to the mind. And they work just like painkillers. So this is not the solution to satisfy the mind, to pacify the mind. We have to find that medicine which can permanently cure this problem, the disease of instability of the mind. And that is metaphysical meditation. But before that, we have to understand the mind, its function, and for that spiritual discourses, we must be listening with seriousness. Actually, to understand and to listen to spiritual discourses is the primary stage, the first stage towards spirituality. When we listen to a spiritual discourse regularly, slowly and slowly, it will make us understand the essence of life and even the essence of scriptures. That's what Christ said. I shall give you the understanding to understand the scriptures. Actually, learned people think that I have understood the scriptures. I understand the Vedas, I understand the Bible, I understand this Upanishads, I understand the Quran. We think we understand that book, that scripture. But it may not be so. What interpretation we are giving may be right, may not be right. Because suppose someone has not been to London and is reading a book about London and he has never been to London. If he interprets that book, his interpretation may be right, may be wrong. But the one who has been to London, and visited each and every corner of London, when he is reading or interpreting or explaining a book, the book about London, his explanation will be more perfect. He can understand that whatever written about London in the book than a person who has never visited London. That's the difference there. Similar are the scriptures. All the scriptures are narration or the speeches of enlightened spiritual masters. I am using the word enlightened spiritual masters. Enlightened means they practically experience that power. They've been to the inner world and then they describe the inner world in different languages. Now when we read those books, those scriptures, those sayings, we think interpreted it differently about the inner world, about the supreme power, about the creator, about God. But actually it is not so. The description difference that we feel is due to the linguistic difference and the way of explanation. But they all have experienced the same truth, whether it be Moses, whether it be Christ, whether it be Muhammad, whether it be Kabir, whether it be Lord Krishna, any master, Buddha, Mahavir Swami, Nanaka, all the saints incarnations that came into the world, they experienced the same truth and described it in their own languages and interpreted in their own ways. But the truth was the one and the same which they experienced. So unless and until we experience the truth, we feel that they have given different ways. There are different ways to achieve salvation. There are different ways to realize God. Actually, it is not so. There is only one way, the shortest and the easiest and the best way to experience God and to meditate on God. There are not even two ways. There is only one way. And some of you might not agree with me. I am not compelling you to accept what I am saying. But what I feel, if you keep on listening to the discourses, slowly and slowly you will understand there is only one way, not even two. And all the masters that came into the world, they propagated and revealed that way to their disciples during their lifetime. Because that way is metaphysical, so it can only be revealed, it can only be taught by a living spiritual master. It is just like operation. If someone has to get operated, he can't get operated by reading a book. He can't get operated by a past surgeon. If he puts a picture of the past surgeon and requests him to operate him, the photo of or the statue of the past surgeon is not going to operate. For that he needs a living surgeon. Similarly, to experience that metaphysical entity, to learn that metaphysical meditation, to get the third eye opened, we need a living spiritual master. And this is where the society is missing. It's good to believe in the past master. It is good to respect and to worship the past masters. But to learn that metaphysical meditation, by which we can control the mind, by which we can stabilize the mind, we have to search and find a living spiritual master. And when we have a living spiritual master, like Krishna, like Rama, like Buddha, like Christ, like Muhammad, like Nanaka, like Ramakrishna Paramahansa, there are hundreds of spiritual masters, past spiritual masters. The living spiritual master will make us everything crystal clear. I am using the word crystal clear. When we listen to him, when we approach him with a guileless heart, slowly he will make us understand the essence of spirituality in a very, very easy way. Actually, friends, spirituality is not a complex subject. It has been made complex by those people who doesn't have self-realization, who are not enlightened. Because there are some professors, when they teach that subject, even the subject is a difficult one, they make it easy to understand. It's their expertise. Whereas some professors who are not proficient in their subject, even an easy subject, they can't explain it properly and it becomes complicated for us. So the efficiency, the knowledge, the expertise of the professor matters. Similarly, is the living master. If he's a enlightened spiritual master, he'll make spirituality very easy for us. Very easily he'll make us understand spirituality. And we'll see it's so easy. Oh, people had made it so complicated. That's what Krishna says in Gita. Rajvidya, Rajguyam, Pavitram, Idam, Uttamam, Pratyaksha, Vagam, Dharmam, Susukhum, Kartumabhyam. He says, the knowledge, the meditation that I am teaching you is the king of all the knowledge because it is metaphysical knowledge. And it's the most sacred one, the king of secrets, secret of secrets. Because it's metaphysical, it's beyond the brain and senses, so automatically it becomes secret of secrets. It says, its king of knowledges is the most sacred one, most holy one, and best one, and easy to practice, and immediate result it gives. Generally we are told by the so-called spiritual master, you do this meditation and one day you will get the result. Friends, actually it is not so. If we drink water just now and if we think that my thirst will be quenched tomorrow, that means that is not water. If it is really water, as soon as I drink it, I'll have a satisfaction, my thirst will be quenched. Similarly, if the meditation is the real one, the metaphysical one, the moment we practice it, at the same moment, it will be giving us the result also. So, that's why in Gita, Lord Krishna says, Pratyaksha Vagam Dharmam Susukham Kartamabhyam. Means it gives immediate result, instantaneous results. And it is the real essence of religion. And it will give you bliss. And very easy to practice. In the end, he says, Kartumabhyam means very easy to practice. And we generally listen that, meditation is a very complicated thing. So friends, actually it is not complicated. It's very easy to practice. Spirituality is very easy to understand, provided we have a enlightened spiritual master. So we will be continuing this discussion on the series Mind the Middleman, and slowly, I hope we'll be able to understand the functioning of the mind and how to control the mind and the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. About the conscious mind, we know a lot. The more we have to understand the subconscious mind. And before that, we have to understand the function of the mind. So, actually, the series Mind the Middleman means mind is the middleman between we and God. Like a broker, So, if the mind is not working properly, it will dilute, it will adulterate, and what signals we receive from God will be twisted. So let's understand the mind, purify it, make it in such a way so that the signals that we receive from the God comes direct to us without being disturbed by this broker, the middleman. So thank you everybody. Tomorrow again we'll be meeting at the same time, and slowly, it takes time to understand spirituality. Though it's easy, but the words, the scriptures, so many scriptures have confused us, and so it's very difficult that we can believe that this one is right, this one is wrong. Slowly, when we keep on listening to spiritual discourses, we'll understand how to find the real spiritual master who can make us understand spirituality very easily. So, slowly, through these spiritual discourses, we will be able to understand what is the test of a spiritual master. And the real spiritual master, once we get connected to him, life becomes easy, spirituality becomes easy, and instead of suffering, this life becomes full of bliss. Thank you everybody. Thank you very much. We meet tomorrow at the same time. Thanks.